peeps, Kelly Marie here from Gigglefish. Sapphire, I told you that I would include origin stories with all the products that I'm going to start creating for my online store, the Bait&TackleStore, so that you can go over there and get your Giggle Gear, especially now during the holidays. And this is one of my favorite stories as far as the origin story about how this product came to be. So if you know anybody this holiday that maybe has been a bad girl, instead of putting coal in their stocking, then you can give them one of these. And or this is for all of us when we beat ourselves up. I call it double beating the dog, so we stop double beating the dog. So this is a big magnet. It's 3.5 inches in circumference. It says, "Bad Cowgirls Need Love Too." Oh yes, they do. So I'm going to tell you where this idea came from, and I'll pull over the star of the show, who's actually Sapphire, our dog. Her name is Sapphire for her pretty blue eyes. She has many names. We mostly call her Sappy for short, but we call her Sapphironimo, Sappadoodle, Longboat, Short Stack, but one of our names I'm starting to call her recently is Piglet. Oh, Sapphire, snack time. Uh-oh. Okay, so come here. Yes, come here. Come here. All right, so she came over for a snack. So this is the doggie that's on the magnet. Her name is Sapphire. She's our little precious. Oh, yes, she did. She was a little Tennessee mountain dog before we moved here to Virginia. So anyhow, she is who is on the magnet. So this is the story of Bad Cowgirls Need Love Too. I am going to try to also work on one that says maybe Bad Cowboys Need Love Too. And this is about radical self-love. And since the holidays are coming up and Christmas is a time of the birth of Jesus, and Jesus was all about love, then that is, I'm afraid she's going to knock everything over because she's looking for the rest of the snacks. Okay, she's going to get this. Anyhow, all right, so this is the quick, short origin story of this magnet. About 25-ish years ago, when I was a young single parent, I was not doing very well at controlling my temper or my anger, especially with my kids. So for example, my daughter was in a really destructive phase where she would do things like take my CDs and put them in my toaster, and she would melt them in there and destroy both my CDs and my toaster and things like this. And I would yell at the kids when they would do these things, and I would just, you know, start screaming at them, lose my temper. And I was not happy with myself, and but I couldn't do better at the time. I just couldn't. I kept losing my temper, and then I would beat myself up, and that's why I call it double beating the dog. So what that means is that when we do things that we're not proud of, when we do things that we know we can do better, and then we, in other words, the yelling is a good example. I'm not being my loving self. I've lost my temper. I'm yelling at little innocent children. I could handle that better. But no, at that time, I could not handle those things better. And so I started working with this idea of radical self-love, and loving myself anyway was the remedy that I was going to try. So I decided that guilt was the primary enemy. And for all of us that are aware of spiritual warfare and different things, condemnation is the way that literally the devil speaks to all of us to condemn us. Through Christ Jesus, we are free of that condemnation, washed clean by his blood for us that are believers. And I will include some quotes from the Bible and the Course in Miracles about the release of guilt, something that may be related to this topic, in the description box as well, if that's helpful for you. So anywho, I was just a rage monster. And so I decided that the next time that I yelled at my kids, I was going to just love myself, because I just didn't know anything else to do. In other words, I already felt bad about yelling at them, and now I'm double beating myself and feeling bad that you know, it's like double guilt because I couldn't do better. And then so that was basically the story. So the next time that it happened, my daughter did something where I really lost my temper. My mother had passed away a long time before. She passed away when I was younger, in my 20s, and she was an artist, and she had drawn this beautiful naked nude woman, kind of like with an aura around her. It was pink and really pretty, and so it was a nude woman painting that my mother had created. And I did not have a lot of things from my mom after she passed. It was one of the very few items that I had that was important to me from her. And one day I came downstairs, and my little sweet daughter, who was in about 3rd or 4th grade, had taken my pink or red nail polish, and she had painted nipples on the nude. It didn't have nipples, it was just like a silhouette of a nude. Well, I got furious and I started yelling at her, and I remembered, no, we're not going to beat yourself up for this, because love is always the answer. You always hear this, love is the answer, love is the answer. Well, how is love the answer? Well, in this case, love was the answer, and I'll tell you how. So I started yelling at her, remembered my promise to myself to not hate myself when I'm being hateful. Let's start loving yourself first. And that's what I did. So as I'm yelling at her, I remembered this, and in the middle of me yelling at her and trying to love myself at the same time, I started laughing. And the laughter broke the spell, which is part of my Gigglefish journey. Laughter is such a healing power. And there is a beautiful quote about that from the Course, basically saying the whole reason that we got here was because we forgot to laugh away the insane ideas that got us here, that we take things so seriously and we forget laughter to laugh away insanity, literally. So I started laughing in the middle of yelling at her, and I still fussed and punished her and did whatever I did. So the second time that it happened, I went to go yell at her, or my son, I can't remember which event happened next, but the kids did something outrageous, as kids do, just being kids. But instead of yelling, this time I stopped myself for a second, and I thought about it, and I thought, do I want to yell at them? And I still wasn't spiritually evolved enough not to yell. So I yelled again, but again, I just loved myself through it. And I said, okay, we're just going to love yourself through it. So I loved myself. I was like, okay, next time I did it, third time was the charm. The third time, I actually stopped myself, and I was able for the first time to make a different choice. And I thought about it, and I thought, I can yell at her or I cannot yell at her, but I'm going to love myself regardless of what action I take next. And that's the key of how we break these patterns, is loving ourselves, because we're already out of control anyway. And this can be used when we're doing things, very serious things, to try to give ourselves free will, to give ourselves a choice. And so in this case, I was able to do that. I didn't yell at her. I took another approach. I handled it differently, and it was the first time I was actually free, and I had a choice of not yelling at her. And free will is just that. Some people, there's a component to free will. It's not about what we think it is. It's about having the freedom to choose God's will instead of our ego, instead of the devil, instead of choosing the dark side of addiction or whatever we're stuck in that we think we can't make a different choice. That is the beauty of Bad Girls Need Love Too. So the next time that we do things that we are going to use to punish ourselves with guilt, that's why we do them. We do them because we are addicted to guilt. That's why we do them. And once we break that guilt chain and we decide, I'm not going to beat myself up for it, I'm going to love myself for it no matter what, then we will be free to make a different choice. The beauty of it is that we are free to make those choices. Meaning, from then forward, I could choose to yell at my children or not yell at my children, but I knew that it was my choice. I now had a choice. I now, for the first time, had a choice, because I wasn't going to punish myself with guilt anymore. And that's what the magnet means. It means that And it's a great reminder for your refrigerator, whether you have someone in your life that's difficult, that you're trying to treat with more love, whether you're trying to treat yourself with more love, when you know you're doing things, if you are addicted to guilt and to punishing yourself and telling yourself what a sad sack you are. No, we aren't those things, but it will help us to free ourselves from our addiction to guilt and all that that does to us, which is devastating from a spiritual perspective and for our happiness. It's impossible to be happy when we're punishing ourselves with guilt. So God bless you. I'm going to now just go into where my fridge is and show you about the quality of this. It's a really good quality magnet. As you can see on the back, it's got a huge magnet and it can hold most things on your fridge. I do have another magnet coming that's a little stronger, so this is certainly fine. It's a little bit more lightweight, so I would say on the scale of how good it holds stuff on, it's about a medium. I have one that's a super powerful magnet that can pretty much hold anything on there. So here's Safi, our little pup, and sending you on your way with love. That is the origin story of that magnet and where it came from. So if you need help releasing yourself from guilt, making other choices, come here, Safi. Come here. Come here. Come here. Remember, just like you would not hurt this precious little dog. Look at her. Look at that. You would not want to hurt her, would you? No. Then don't hurt yourself. Let's not hurt ourselves anymore, okay? No matter what we're doing. And the great thing about it is not only will it help teach us to be more loving towards ourselves, it will help, once we are loving towards ourselves, then when other people do boneheaded things, we can start being more loving towards them. And it just continues to grow. As we are kinder to ourselves, we can be kinder to other people. So, see you later. Don't double beat your dog. No, she just needs love. You need love. We need love. Love is the answer. Peace.
Having trouble embracing your innocence? Don't hire quacks. Hire Beaky and Webb. No more guilty verdicts against yourself. Here is a testimonial from a happy client.
My name is Safi, and I'm a trash dog, but I've forgiven myself, so now I'm free. Have you freed yourself yet?
This is what the magnet looks like on a black surface, if you happen to have a black refrigerator. The magnet is a large 3.5-inch circumference with my dog Safi on it in a cowgirl outfit. That's what she's sporting. And it's a good quality as far as it's going to hold up pretty much what you need. This is a couple schedules, probably I'd say about 4 pieces of paper. You can throw it on there. It's going to hold that up fine. I also have a postcard here. I can put this up. So it's going to hold cardstock as well. So let me just switch this out. Actually, I'll put a couple postcards up there. So if you need to hold a couple postcards, something like that, it will hold as well. The other magnet that I have is the Open Heart design. This is more of a heavy duty one in the sense that this is the kind that when you put it on, it's really hard to even get off. So this is a stronger magnet. I'd say this is about medium to medium strong, but it'll hold up what you need as far as anything basic. And if you need something stronger, you can get this one because this will hold up anything. This is kind of the strongest magnet they make. Thanks for your support.